separator design right now.
We are live
Or
streaming.
to discharge it.
Okay.
Discharge it in the DEC wetlands or the county.
Good evening, everybody.
There.
Evening.
We have no guest speakers tonight, so we'll start off with any reports from Matt. Do you have anything from your area? Like to update us?
Rapid fire, it's nonstop.
that
If I
time
could
of year.
just follow up on an email that was sent last week. Is there any position that the board wants to take on the Town Line Volunteer Fire Department project? My understanding is that they're still designing their oil separator. They haven't decided whether or not to discharge it into a wetland, which requires a DEC permit, or into the county system that's going to require a county highway department permit. And they're running out of season to get the building shell up and started. Well, I don't know if the general consensus of the board is okay to, issue something just to get these guys in the ground, or are we just going to hang tight and wait for their discharge design?
If it won't impede the start of it, let them start. Until they get to the point where
Get the ball rolling.
you
It's
have
going to be 4 walls and a roof, and then they're going to have to stop anyways until they.
But at least they have something,
Yep.
and then
All right, I just wanted y'all to be aware and just have general consensus and understanding that it's just a shell.
yeah.
That'll go up, and we'll hold it at that. And just
How
take it
long,
from there.
Matt, how long was the permit, like something like that take? Don't know.
We've been through the design and planning process on other projects, DEC, county, permitting. It's all based on the design that's proposed, and if it meets their standards. So that was all I had tonight. Thanks.
Talking about Town Line, any update on Town Line from last time? With the gentleman with the wood and
With the neighbors?
with the neighbors, any update on that?
Yeah, the follow-up investigation is still incomplete. I think it was this past week, the assistant code official needed to do an on-site rough inspection of the 2 buildings. There is no septic system being installed. It was just an electrical service to the buildings.
And was there a permit for that?
Excuse me?
Was there a permit filed with you?
With us, we issued the building permit for the building.
What about the electric?
Electrical is a third-party inspection agency. I'm assuming the service is going to be inspected prior to the power company installing the meter. Use and occupancy is still the same, residential accessory structures. I've had conversations with the contractor as well as the property owner, that if they intend to move forward with any interior conditioning of those buildings, we're going to have to permit the improvements to get it there. But right now, it's just 4 walls and a roof, not heated. You're going to run power, but that's pretty much the extent of the improvements.
And would that come here first or the planning board?
Residential accessory
Residential.
structure does not have a site plan requirement. That's why these are residential accessory structures.
Okay. Just so because about a business in there. Okay.
One of several dozens in town.
All right. Thank you.
Anything else, Matt?
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Ed?
Real quick, senior center construction started last week, so they're out there, sidewalks are being torn up, laying out the pickleball court, laying out the gazebo, moving along at a pretty good rate. Historical building, next door, that contract, was awarded, or was it on tonight's agenda, I forget. Anyway, no, it was awarded, waiting for contracts to come back. Town Hall soffit, that's on tonight's agenda for notice to bid. Bid opening for that is September 12th. That's it.
All right.
And with both the soffits and the historical building, are there pictures prior to them starting?
Yes.
During and after both?
Well, right now, they're pre-existing conditions, pre-existing photos, let's put it that way.
Okay.
Okay. Clerk's office?
Yes. I emailed the board about fax, getting the fax on receiving it and sending it from your computers through Documo. TechNet is what I didn't say in that email is TechNet is advising everyone to get rid of their fax machines because they're obsolete, basically, and mine hasn't worked in at least a year.
So I signed the agreement today
Great.
for that, and this is something that we did at the bank a long, long time ago. We no longer started with, where everything's going through emails,
Right.
which is much more efficient as far as cost savings and things of that nature, so great effort. I believe all our departments in town hall are going that way, so
If it's still okay with you, I'm gonna sign on it. I can't justify $62 a month. I'll never use it.
It will all be paid under my budget line.
Well, if I owe you something.
No, nothing, that's what that budget line is for.
For that.
And I think maybe Parks and Rec may have an issue out there too. I heard there might be a problem, so I mean, if we, anybody in the town, any town department can jump on.
So it's just moving in the right direction, and there's other departments
Yeah.
that we need to get up there and
Yep.
running that way.
It's
I mean,
easy,
we
once you get the initial going to add departments, it's easy.
They told me $3.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not bad.
No, no. The other thing is the public hearing tonight about adding a document in with the town and county taxes. If anybody has any questions about that, I'm happy to answer it. It will enable me, the document will all have to be approved by the board every single time, so I can't slip anything in there. It can't be political, it can't be controversial, it has to be informative. And we have ideas already, what to put in there. It's not going to cost the town anything extra. For instance, if we do a dog census, we can do it that way. And normally dog census costs quite a bit of money because you're either sending someone out or you're paying for the postage to send something to every resident. So this way, it's no added cost because it's going with the tax bill, so there's no added postage. It's just a sheet of paper. So I don't know if anybody had any question about it. We have to do a public hearing and you have to approve it because right now the law says that you can't unless you do this step.
Yeah, okay.
We got about 2 weeks left on secret.
Okay,
On the secret.
Great.
So, yeah, we'll put it on.
thank you.
Sounds good. Bruce, anything from Parks and Rec?
Hello. On the agenda tonight, a couple resolutions. We're looking for support from the board. Number 5, there's electrical work through Ansel Electric. We're going to be doing some work in the town hall by the clerk's office. That's been an issue for, I've heard, multiple years. It hasn't been addressed. So part of that resolution is that we're also going to be doing 2 new outlets over at the pool to make it a little easier and definitely safer to clean the pool properly. And we're also working on the building department. Part of that contract is fixing the lights in the basement here. So a couple of projects have been lingering for a while. That's Resolution 5. On Resolution 11, we're looking for the board support. Our department is looking for the board support for a new employee, Adam Bistoff. Interviewed a couple times. Very qualified candidate. We're looking forward to him joining our team if he is approved. Also on number 18 resolution, Jeremy Balestrea. Very experienced. He's currently a crew chief over at Lancaster Country Club. Runs a crew of 18 guys. We're looking forward to him joining our team in about a month. He's got a couple projects he's going to take care of, but if he is approved, he'll be joining us in mid-September. So the senior center project, like Ed had mentioned, Parks and Rec is supporting that. We went through the pre-con. We've been in communication with the contractor just to make sure all these projects that we have a presence for anything that's outside work. So we've been there every day talking to the contractor and just pretty much making sure that everything's to spec on our level, and Ed also has an inspector on site. So moved with those big rocks. We were tasked with moving a couple of large rocks at Senior Center, and Highway Department came over and took care of that. So appreciate that, John and Michelle. And last meeting we talked about the Westwood Nature Walk, still in planning phase. We're walking the property, going to map it out. We spoke with a couple of the council members, and we're going to make sure we have that route defined, presented to the board, and the board is, I believe, interested in getting public opinion on that. So that's kind of where we're going with that. So walking the property, I think it's going to look awesome. Allow that park just different vantage points from looking out in the woods into the park. I think it's going to be a very good asset for our town, so. And also, the soccer organization, Lancaster Pew Soccer, is moving forward with the design of their complex. They have hired an architectural firm for their complex. The plan is hopefully Westwood Park, but if not, they are still proceeding with the plan. They're hoping to have renderings for the soccer complex within a couple weeks. So that's where we're at.
Thank you.
Question for you.
Yep.
There's like 3 or 4 pages of Hector's hardware expenses in here.
Yep.
What's that all about? And so you know, I'm getting the reports now
Yep.
on expenditures per line.
Yep.
Is that line gone now? What are we doing?
For which one?
For the Hector's hardware stuff? I mean, there's just like, it's like thousands of dollars.
The supplies, yeah, one
And
was
there
the
were
one large.
previous
The
things.
large one was a lawnmower. We had a push lawnmower that we were going to use for the infield at the fields. A lot of it was our guys. A lot of it was repairs. We took a lot of our weed whackers in for repairs. Our chalk boxes needed to be repaired. I would say probably half of that is repaired to equipment. But also a lot of the quick stuff that we're working on. Hey, a lot of hoses when we were doing the brickyard. A fair amount of that. We were probably there every day. Sprinklers, hoses, just spray paint when we had issues with graffiti.
Where do we stand on that line? Is that line still got any money in it? Is it gone?
No, I think we're good.
We're
Yeah,
good?
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll shift.
And again, I don't know if this is yours or this is highway, but there's a truck equipment, says snow on there. It looks like some repairs at Aero Collision and Fabrication, $9,797.
That's ours.
That's yours? Okay, so I'll wait for you guys.
That's covered through insurance.
You want to wait till you come up here? Then you can, okay. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Thank you.
John, Highway?
Evening. So, past couple weeks, the highway department's been working diligently paving roads and milling. Had another successful round of paving. We paved Stonehenge, Westbury, and Whitestone. Came out awesome. The guys worked their tails off. They stayed late. Came out real well. Want to thank Ed and Mark for giving me a hand on the Simi Road culvert project. If you guys remember from about a month ago, the residents came in and were pretty upset with the final restoration of their property. And Councilman Burkhart came down, and Ed was there, and Union Concrete agreed to come in this week to do a better job of restoring the properties and fix all the issues that were there. So I think they're starting
Next week.
next week.
They got pushed a week,
They pushed it back to next
Yeah,
week?
they got
Okay,
pushed a
so
week,
thank you guys for that. Councilman Leary, that $9,000 charge it's covered under insurance.
Insurance, okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Chief Elmo?
1 second.
Yeah, sure. Well, while we're waiting for Chief, I could talk about the banner program that we're going to enter into. No cost to the town, and we're guaranteed 25 banners plus 3 for municipal buildings. I know Bruce, John, has Carmen provided those light posts yet to the company?
Yeah, he's off today, but we'll have him tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, so basically, what this will be is banners signifying when you're entering in the town of Lancaster from all directions that you can possibly get. I did put together a priority list as far as where they should go for the time being. We can always do more afterwards, but I'm trying to get the main entry points covered. Certainly, we're going to cover our fire halls. We're going to have in our municipal buildings, Parks and Rec will have one, our parks will have them, Youth Bureau will have one. So it's a good program. Again, no cost to the town. These flags are supposedly going to be up by October 1st, we're targeting.
But there is advertising on them from
There
companies.
can be advertising on there if the sponsors sponsor. If they don't, we're guaranteed 25 from the company. No charge. Chief?
Thank you for giving me that minute.
Yeah.
Just a report on our new recruits. They're doing very good. They started week 4 at the academy this week, and all reports are they're doing excellent. And we have one more vehicle to finish transitioning over from the old cars phasing into the new. We're getting them up to that mileage standard, and we should be done with them hopefully within the next month.
Have you priced out cars for, it's, cost of cars have skyrocketed. Before I came in here, they're saying that there's only one car out there available that's $20,000 or less.
So I spoke with the dealer that has the current state bid in regards to Dodge Chargers. Dodge was phasing out the Charger this year. I spoke with him approximately a month ago. They had a 4-day window that we could still get Chargers, new Chargers for the upcoming year. So we have 5 on order currently for next year. And we're probably still going to need to talk about, we usually get another supervisor vehicle, Durango. So that'll be something to discuss.
Is there a price point on those yet?
I haven't heard one.
Yeah, I have a fear that we're going to get a pretty good uptick on that because of, what the consumer is driving right now. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's it. So let's go through our resolution. Okay, number 1 is myself approving the minutes. Number 2 is approve the audit claims. Councilmember Mazur has number 3.
Number 3 is the bi-weekly building permit report.
And then Councilmember Dickman, number 4.
It's just a special use permit renewal for a dog kennel on Schwartz Road.
Councilmember Burkhart, number 5.
Approve expenditure of funds, various town buildings.
And I have 6. It's amend the resolution for EBC. Councilmember Burkhart, number 7.
Request bids, Lancaster Town Hall repair and replacement of soffit and trim.
And I have number 8, which is an interim program, authorizing that. Councilmember Mazur, number 9.
9 is to adopt a seeker negative declaration of the Tim Hortons on Broadway.
And I have number 10, which is establishing standard work days for some of our appointed officials and elected officials. Number 11 is an appointment in the Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Department. And Councilmember Burkhart, number 12.
Award contract, curbing sidewalk blocks and wheelchair ramp replacement.
Number 13 is mine, is to recognize an appointment in the Highway Department. And Councilmember Mazur, 14 through 16, please.
14 is to adopt a seeker negative declaration on a tool ranch on Walden Avenue. And number 15 is to adopt a site plan on Walden Avenue, tool ranch. And number 16 is to adopt a secret negative declaration on a minor subdivision split on Genesee Street, 5943 Genesee Street.
Okay, 17 is mine, it's to recognize an appointment in the Highway Department. 18 is going to be to appoint a person in the Laborers, Parks, Recreation, and Forestry. And 19 is appoint a assistant dog control officer. Councilmember Burkhart, number 20.
Confirm membership roster, Twin District.
And 21 is to recognize an appointment in the Highway Department. And that's it. So we have 10 minutes before we start our meeting. We'll reconvene in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know why that is for this was an answer that you have what was on the last time.
Hey, Ron, this person for dog control says Syracuse, New York.
One of your services.
Are you going to explain how we're hiring somebody from Syracuse, New York? Or?
I think she's moving here.
Okay, but do we know? I mean, it makes no
I think
sense.
it was in the email to us, when he sent us the email.
Yeah, I didn't see anything in there to explain what was going on.
Yeah, there's something about that. She's moving back to this area. Her husband took a job here.
So we might want to mention that. Thank you.
Collect more. I don't understand what they screwed everything up.
Ever? No, okay. He's in there. Yeah, there's a lot of buildings back there.
It's 2 weeks of houses, pools. There's at least 2 dozen complexes in town.
Well, you have the old one and the new one.
That's it.
This,
South Smart.
I don't know, I'll have to send an email. There was a $35. Yeah.
Hey, Ed, you're an engineer. Can you turn the air conditioning down? Make it cooler? Yeah. Thanks.
Well, get that out. Look at that, you get the thing.
You know, it starts ticking. We get rushed out of here.
For what? 5? Is that new? Without the stuff put on there?
The house remodeling they're
And
doing.
that,
around.
what year, what quote is that for? Coming in, but.
We had to pull a bunch of electric bits. Big panels out, you know? So I got no power on the first floor, I got no power in the garage, I
For now,
got barely
yeah.
any power in the basement. I had to run extension cords to keep my freezer
So
going.
that's gonna take effect
Over
for
to the
what,
sun, they kept that green.
2024, okay. So that's on the budget. then.
Lights upstairs in the bedroom in the back.
Budget that for 2020.
Which is what we're using,
Your
so that's
budget,
fine.
we'll do that. Okay. But I think like, when you do 2025, I think you're gonna think really,
Oh, yeah. I got no HVAC, that's completely out.
right,
Took down all the stuff where they put thermostat out.
Runs are going
Yeah.
right through the existing structure.
Right, yeah. So once they open it up,
Yeah,
we took them all out.
so there's gonna be a-
We know where they're going. but you
that
can't frame it down before you can put them back in.
for 186 for 5, probably about $250,000.
Yeah, sure.
In 2025 for the 5. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
For electric bills, it'll be
Yeah,
pretty low.
oh, yeah. Yeah. And, you know, they better plan for it. That's all my concern is that nothing's coming down. That's unfortunate, but we gotta plan for it. I'm gonna be here to plan for it, that part of it, but, thanks.
Or I took the power in the basement, so they're up using the shower. How do water?
So you
I think it's got a power vent in it. So I had to run an extension cord for that.
That's what they wanted, permission, yeah.
Did that years ago, before, we've got a generator now, but before that,
I'm taking it out and dropping it.
furnace.
No,
It was
not at all.
October, whatever we needed. It was all hardwired. So my son and I went down and made a plug. So we'll take care of that. Yeah.
I'm hoping I have mine put in October.
So why didn't they make a plug out of it? Why didn't they hardwired all the time?
Well, there's a switch there that shut power, so you can
Ours is old, doesn't have the switch. Yeah. New ones do.
That's right.
It came out of the ceiling and right to the, so we put a junction box in. Took the cord out.
When did you build this?
Mine, 1990.
Oh, 90. It's the green book.
Yeah, so we took the cord coming out of the furnace, put a plug on the end of it. Plug in the generator.
Yeah.
Before we had the whole house generator. And the God said that was, we lost power a month ago for about 5 hours. I forget what that problem was. There's a whole house generator in our barn. We got a 100 amp service in the barn. The generator came down and it still said DRV, which was nice.
How big is it?
I want to say 14. Yeah, it's good. It runs everything
Same
around.
thing. I'm just hoping the trigger is safe.
Ours runs on propane. We don't have natural gas, but it runs fine. I mean, they don't suck anywhere near the propane.
Do I know you?
Did you hear?
Oh, I am too. It's an emergency room.
Oh, really? Stung? Does now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, people are talking to me. Yeah, they're asking, when are you gonna do that?
Yeah, allergies or something.
You do emergency planning even in this book. Yeah, I want to. Yeah, we still you just can't get through.
Well, you've talked about that. The tar part.
Not recently.
No, but you know, she has daughters in college. Has no be a close. Where they said, that we're close to college. I mean, they went around, still around.
This kind of shot.
Every college has a cover, so they had it just ongoing. So last week they were moving her, taking her down to college. Yeah, taking her to college. And she was back there yesterday. That was a trip. Horrible. What happened? We stopped on the way down in Lexington, Kentucky to stay overnight in a hotel. And during the night, somebody stole our stuff out of the truck. Betty, and the truck broke down. My husband works for Oak Grove. Chipped them parts to fix the truck, but it's going. I don't buy everything new.
Trade chairs or something.
Get all the riding stuff. Imagine if they were out driving around looking at dumpsters and stuff. But somebody probably thought it was tools. Work truck. Slid
School, you gotta clean out your rooms every year. You gotta make sure you put your
at the hotel. Yeah.
piece of tape on like multiple spots. Because when you clean out rooms and you put it back, you don't always get your same chair back. You gotta make sure you get yourself.
Somebody takes the best of the
Yeah, exactly. Somebody, I swear to God, somebody comes in. Diane, you're happy to have your little sanctuary back.
Yeah.
Guy calling me today, guy putting a pool in on the main north main. He submitted for the he submitted for the permit. And he's just replacing the pool pretty much in kind, so it's really no grade changes. That's fine. You know, typical, don't change
They're
the
great,
grades, you're okay.
which is nice.
So the contractor's all day. He goes, we're all done. What do I gotta submit? He's gotta submit the survey that says you didn't change any of the grades, especially at the top of it. Okay.
Where was
North Maple.
That's a good question. There was a Sunday game yesterday. Yeah, most of them are usually Friday night, but there was a Sunday game yesterday.
Office supply needs some work. Well, I didn't watch the whole game. I only watched the first game. That's what I heard.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock. Call the meeting to order. Diane, would you please do roll call?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Here.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yeah, here.
Councilmember Leary?
Here.
Councilmember Mazur?
Here.
Supervisor Rufino?
Here. Diane, would you please do the pledge and invocation?
I pledge allegiance to
Please remain standing.
Dear wise and loving Father, let me say thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here today. Thank you for your many and abundant blessings. Thank you for life itself, for the measure of health we need to fulfill our callings, for sustenance, and for friendship. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work and for the honor of bearing appropriate responsibilities. Thanks as well for the freedom to embrace you or the freedom to reject you. Thank you for loving us even so. From your boundless and gracious nature, amen.
Amen. Okay, tonight's meeting, we have 21 pre-filed resolutions, no suspended resolutions. We have 2 public hearings, which will start at 7:05, 1 executive session under number 2. We'll be closing in memory of a list of people. First, Deacon David C. Rotterman, Timothy Juan, former judge of the town of Lancaster, Heidi Delanova, Alexander Stroka, Frank Falkowitz, Velma Eicheldinger, and Frank Jengo. At this point, we'll ask anybody who'd like to speak about any of these 21 pre-filed resolutions. Please raise your hand. Yes, sir?
Good evening, Town Board. Paul Nospis Jr. I live on Noel Avenue in the village of Lancaster with number 9. Adopt SCQR negative declaration importance. I know that's the one on Broadway, the Lucas James project, correct? What I need to know, a couple months ago, I think it was like a month and a half ago, during the town board meeting, Town Councilman Leary brought up these sort of subject matters. The feasibility study that was done years ago with a high cost with the Village of Depew, Village of Lancaster, and the town of Lancaster, is that a legal documentation? Is it a legal document? If somebody wants to build a retail, if a feasibility study is done, and let's say it's a traffic or any other excuse that could be made, and this feasibility study comes up that was done years ago, can that be rejected because of the feasibility study? So be it the Genesee project that was brought up by Mr. Burkhart, can it be rejected just because of the feasibility study?
Not that I'm aware of, especially if it's old.
So then what is the worth of this whole feasibility study that costs taxpayers money? If that's not a legal documentation, that means anybody in the town of Lancaster or anywhere else, any developer could come in and build, correct?
Are you referring to the comprehensive plan?
Yes, comprehensive plan, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's different. No, that is not. It's not legally binding. It is definitely suggestive. It has recommendations in it. The zoning maps are binding.
Okay.
Unless, of course, there is a change in zoning approved by this board.
Okay.
It is a guidance document. It's not legally binding.
I don't want to disagree with the town attorney, but if you read through it, it says it is legally binding in a couple of different areas.
It has suggestions for things that are legally binding, for example, zoning. But just the fact that it suggests that we should have, say, commercial growth on the Walden corridor, that does not preclude commercial growth from being south or someplace else. It just suggests that that's the best fit.
Yeah, there were a couple of very specific instances in there where it talked about that it was legally binding. So again, you're the attorney.
I'll have to take a look.
Yeah,
You wanna
we'll have
put those on?
to, okay, definitely.
So that's a what if maybe, correct? It's a legal document or isn't it?
More to come.
What's that?
More to come.
Well,
It's a gray area?
it's not legal as in everything on page 3 either must be implemented by law or can't be done because page 3 says don't, or page 7 or any other page. It is largely a recommending document to give developers, residents, an idea of what the town is looking to do between and among the communities, because I think we did do it for the 2 villages as well.
Yes.
The actual legally binding part is going to be the zoning map that comes after. And I believe the zoning map was amended 2 years or a year after, or very close to the same time, using those recommendations.
So, going back to Lucas James project in itself, being Tim Hortons, was there a traffic study being done? Or if it's a high road like that, a main route, state road like Genesee, when someone wants to build a large development on those state roads, are they street, with traffic? Are studies done with traffic?
If you're asking me specifically, I'm not answering any questions about the
No.
Lucas James project because we were basically threatened with a lawsuit in the paper if that information was correct that was in the paper. So at this point in time, I'm not commenting at all on the Lucas James project.
Well, then I will bring up this because you sit on the LIDA. They should have never got a industrial development agency because Lucas James already started building before, and I called up the ECIDA, a member that works there, and that should have never got a LIDA development whatsoever. But because the majority rules,
Sir, your
Pass.
5 minutes are up. Anybody else want to speak on the
I thought Mr.
resolutions?
Burkhart is in five.
He signaled me. Yeah, he signaled me.
You're welcome.
Okay, we're going to come back to you after I had opened public hearing, so you'll be first coming up. Okay, so I'll ask for motion to open public hearing number 1, which is on the taxation.
Motion to open the hearing?
May I have a second?
Second.
On the roll, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, I'll read the public notice. Legal notice hereby given that Town Board of Town of Lancaster will hold a public hearing on the 21st day of August 2023 at 7:05 PM at Town Hall for the purpose of considering and possibly revising a local law to amend the Town of Lancaster Code, Chapter 320, taxation to include a new Article 7, informational mailings authorized. Copies of the revised local law can be reviewed at Lancaster Town Hall here at 21 Central Avenue during normal business hours and on the Town of Lancaster's website. All interested members of the public shall be heard. Anybody like to speak on this public hearing? For a second time? And a third? I'll ask for a motion to close public hearing number 1.
Motion closed.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the roll?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Have a motion to open public hearing number 2, which is on the section 221-7, exceptions noise.
Motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the roll, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Legal notice is hereby given that the Town Board of Town of Lancaster will hold a public hearing on the 21st day of August 2023 at 7:05 PM for the purpose of considering and possibly revising a local law to amend the Town of Lancaster Code 2023, revising Chapter 221 of the Town of Lancaster's Code, noise, to change the wording in Section 221-7, exceptions, subsection D. Copies of the revised local law can be reviewed at Lancaster Town Hall here at 21 Central Avenue during normal business hours and on the Town of Lancaster's website. All interested members of the public shall be heard. Anybody like to speak on this public hearing? I'll ask for a second time and a third. Can I have a motion to close public hearing number 2?
Motion to close?
May I have a second?
Second.
On the roll, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, who had their hand up? We'll resume.
Somebody in the back too, Ron.
Good evening, Supervisor Ruffino and board members. Attorney Elizabeth Holmes here on behalf of Mr. James with respect to pre-filed resolution number 9, which is up for a proposed seeker negative declaration in connection with a special use permit application. Since the only proposal tonight up for a vote is the proposed negative declaration, I'll keep my comments brief and relevant to that topic only, and hopefully I can address some of the questions that gentleman had with respect to the traffic study. With respect to the history of the environmental review, it was before this town board previously, and I understand that given the nature of the current tenant that's proposed, it is back before the town board for a seeker review. That anchor tenant necessitated further seeker review with respect to potential traffic impacts. That was indicated by the planning board when they reviewed the application and presented a recommendation of approval, as well as a recommendation for a negative declaration under seeker, as well as mentioned by some of the coordinated agencies that were involved in the review up until this point. To that end, my client commissioned an updated traffic assessment by Passero Engineers, which concluded that the project provides sufficient stacking on site to satisfy the projected demands during AM peak hours, which is obviously the issue. It's a Tim Hortons. People want their coffee and their donuts in the morning, so any impact is going to be specifically targeted towards the morning hours. And the engineering report indicated that there will be no highway spillback, and that is with the implementation of a double stacking lane, which can accommodate up to 19 vehicles. That's almost twice what is required by the code and well beyond what was suggested by the updated traffic assessment. The updated traffic assessment also indicated that a full TIS is not warranted based on the generated trip projections. On July 19th, as I indicated, the planning board in its capacity as an advisory board recommended that this board issue a negative declaration for the project and approve the special use permit with 3 conditions, 1 being the double lane stacking that was discussed, 2 being an updated traffic analysis to take place after 1 year in operation, and 3, to implement any resulting comments from that updated traffic study within a year of completion. So my client has been amenable to all of these conditions, is certainly agreeable to those conditions, and on July 31st of this year, the DOT weighed in on the planning board's recommendation of approval with conditions, indicating that the updated traffic assessment resolved any immediate concerns with respect to the development and also concurred with the Erie County Highway's suggestion that another traffic study be done down the road to ensure that no traffic issues arise after operations commence with respect to the development, which, as you know, is already in progress, is about 75–80% substantially completed at this point due to prior site plan approvals, rezoning, etc. So we would request that the board approve the condition negative declaration that's up for resolution tonight, and if there are any questions that I or my client can answer for you, we're certainly amenable to doing that.
I do have one.
Sure.
From the New York State DOT and Erie County, they concur, and I concur with this as well. In the statement from them, if in the future, while utilizing the double stacking, the drive-through queue lengths are found to extend to the public roadways, the property owner will be required to take measures to mitigate the safety problem. Does Mr. James concur with that and take responsibility for this statement in the future?
He does, absolutely, and I believe that the...
Not to interrupt, but may I have Mr. James
sure.
concur with that and take accountability for that for the future? Please. Thank you. And thank you for giving us the materials, the new rendering.
No problem. Yeah, I offered him a couple times. So the question is specifically, am I going to be responsible for the 3 recommendations?
Because New York State DOT and Erie County, they concur with this. This was their statement, as well as myself on the board, that you understand the statement and you will take accountability and responsibility if this does occur in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do agree, to be clear, with the 3 recommendations that we will have to make, we will have to mitigate changes if needed, if called upon by the traffic study, done 1 year after the commencement of the Tim Hortons special use permit, should it get approved. Just the seeker is tonight, I believe.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And just to add on to that, obviously, if it's a condition of the issuance of the negative declaration and the special use permit approval down the road, if we achieve that, any violation of those conditions would allow this board to revoke the special use permit at that time.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. I see a hand back there. Yes?
Road. I'm
Can you
obviously talking
repeat
on...
that?
Oops, sorry, could you hear me? Okay. I'm obviously talking on a pretty hot issue here, seeing that both people have come up and talked about your...
Repeat your name and address.
Beth Ricklick, 182 Brunk Road.
Thank you.
So on the Resolution 9 for the Tim Hortons, I had some of the same questions that have been addressed and have been answered in here. My main concern is I understand all your DOT reports and every environmental and everything's done like that. I've come from a different area where Tim Hortons is massive. There's 3 Tim Hortons all over the place. Anywhere you turn, there's a Tim Hortons. And I understand that having 2 lanes, that's great. That really makes it seems like that's going to make it great for in there. My concern is living where I live and looking at the development that's going up and all the development that has gone up in Tonawanda. I read an article one time that talked Lancaster. I read an article one time from someone from Tonawanda who lived in Lancaster that stated Lancaster is considered a urban-rural area or a rural-urban area, which if you drive around, the urban is much more than the rural nowadays. I'm fortunate enough not to live where there's houses on top of houses, water that has been retained in being sold as a pond, trees being torn down on the work for the development. So I have no problem with development. But when you take all this new development and all the new development that's going to come into Lancaster in the next probably 3 years, I'm pretty sure that, and I don't quote from firsthand knowledge, but I'm pretty sure that all that land on Bowen going from the Somerset development to William down to Schwartz is probably all designated for development very soon. The corner of William and Bowen was sold maybe 2-3 years ago. Nothing's been done. That tells me that good chance maybe that's another developer. So while your 2 lanes may do well going in from Broadway, coming out at Borden, you still have a light right there. That light is there. Your entrance or exit would be this way, and your entrance would be that way on Broadway. Whichever way you go, you're coming into traffic, and you're coming to an existing light that is already a congestion area at times. You're on Broadway, you want to get to Bowen, the turn lane's there, you can't get into the turn lane because that's going there. Coming out, you got a 7-Eleven, you got a Tim Horton, or you got a 7-Eleven, and you have a Quick Fill all on there. So while I do believe in earnest that everyone is seeing what these reports show will happen, and I do believe that Mr. Lucas is definitely trying to make things better to keep it smooth. My concern is no matter how much you try to do it now, 2 to 3 years from now, when 3 more developments have come up, you've got a ton of developments coming off, I believe, off of pavement. People may all use that way to go downtown. My concern is that eventually there's no way that particular spot is going to be able to handle all that traffic. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but I'm talking when you go into the future, which is going to increase your chances for accidents. It's going to increase, the number of people that want to go through that way. I'm sure everyone who is in the development, the newer developments, now is all saying, I'd love a Tim Hortons there, I want to go there, I want to go there, because it's very popular. So all I say is, I definitely agree that he is making every effort, and I hope he has made every effort, and I'm sure he has. But let's not just take today in consideration, let's take 3 years in consideration, or 4 years consideration. Tim Hortons can go just about anywhere, and it's not Tim Hortons that I have the problem with, it's the location in the area and the congestion and foreseeable issues and problems that will occur in the future, more or less. I don't know how you can adjust to that. You only have so much land. You can't put in another row for them to go in and get their coffee and come back out. It's not possible unless they're going to knock down Quick Fill. So, be it may be, whatever the decision is the decision, but this is just not a situation of here and now. It's a situation of in the future and then. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to speak about the pre-filed resolutions? Second time? Third time? We'll close that portion. Official reports, Matt, anything?
No, thank you.
Ed, anything else? Any town board committee reports? I'll just announce a couple items from the Lieutenant Colonel Matt Irvin BW Post 7275. They got a couple events coming up. A pulled pork dinner on Saturday, September 9th, 12 p.m. till sold out, $15 per dinner. And then they also have a rock and roll dance featuring Crash Cadillac that will be September 23rd from 7 to 11 p.m. And tickets are $12 a piece, or reserve a table 8 for $85. Okay, then we're going to move on to our resolutions. I'd like to move resolution number 1. This is all the minutes of the regular meeting of the town board held August 7th, 2023, being hereby approved. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Abstain.
Councilmember Leary.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 2. This is out the following all claims being hereby ordered, paid from the respective accounts as per abstract to be filed in the office of town clerk by the supervisor's office. It's check run number 08212023. Total amount hereby authorized to be paid is $490,073.86. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Leary.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Yes. Councilmember Mazer, number 3, please.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, offer the following resolution. Move for its adoption. Be it resolved that the following building permit applications be it hereby reaffirmed. There is a total of 40 town building department, building applications and 18 in the village. Now therefore be it resolved that the building permit application is hearing coded CSW for conditional sidewalk waiver, being hereby reaffirmed with a waiver of the town ordinance required for sidewalks. However, the waiver is granted upon the express condition that the town of Lancaster at any future date reserves the right to order sidewalk installation at the expense of the property owner.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Leary.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Yes. Councilmember Dickman, number 4, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Board. I offer Resolution 4 for adoption. Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster has held a public hearing upon the application of Selmar K. Dorsey II for a special use permit for home occupation of a dog kennel on the premise located at 387 Schwartz Road. And whereas its terms and conditions, this special use permit is currently up for renewal. And whereas by letter received July 30th, 2023, Selmar K. Dorsey II has requested the Town Board renew the special use permit for an additional 2-year term. And whereas the supervising code enforcement officer has recommended his approval of the special use permit in his letter dated August 9th, 2023. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster does hereby grant the special use permit renewal to Selmar Dorsey for the home occupation of dog kennel at 387 Schwartz Road, Lancaster, New York, upon the terms and conditions set forth in the zoning ordinance for the period beginning August 23rd, 2023 and ending August 22nd, 2025, and that the applicant will continue in compliance with the conditions as set forth in home occupations and special use permits of the Code of the Town of Lancaster and to any additional conditions listed herein as long as the applicant continues to engage in this home occupation on the premise, namely, and this is the same original 8 conditions.
Have a second, please?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart.
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Leary.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
Yes. Councilmember Burkhart, number 5, please.
Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, I am offering Resolution Number 5 for adoption. Whereas Bruce Stutz, Park Crew Chief for the Town of Lancaster, has notified the Town Board that various buildings throughout the town are in need of electrical work, and whereas the work to be performed is considered public works for labor and materials, therefore bids for proposals were not required. And whereas by letter dated August 9th, 2023, Park Crew Chief Stutz has recommended that the Town of Lancaster award the project to Azalone Electric Contracting, East Amherst, New York, to perform the required electrical work as follows. Permits and inspection, if needed, for all electrical work. Dog control building, add power 4 and hang ring camera or floodlight. Town hall, rewire and rehang fixtures and foyer. Replace 4-F5 ballast in office. Replace 3 9-inch razor lights in the hallway. Kiza pool, add 2 20-amp GFI protected circuits. Whereas the amount shall not exceed $5,350 per its quote dated July 26, 2023. And whereas funding for the parking lot improvement is available from account 01-1620-260 buildings, other capital outlay.
Can I interrupt you?
Yes.
That should read funding for above described.
Above described, okay. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Lancaster hereby approves the expenditure of funds from account 01-1620-2060 buildings, other capital outlay in the amount not to exceed $5,350.
May I have a second?
Second?
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Ruffino?
Yes.
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion to table the next resolution on here, number 6. I've not been able to see the contract that we're going to be talking about here. I asked the town attorney, he doesn't have it at this point, couldn't find it. And there's some questions about what we're paying for. When we first signed up for this, way back when, it was $150 per hour. And, and now we're talking about, when you add it up to $8,200 per month, it's supposed to include payroll, and then it was also supposed to include HR payroll solutions. I haven't talked to any department head that has had any dealings with these people on an HR basis, so I'm not even sure what we're paying for. And without seeing that contract, I don't think we should move ahead at this point. So I'd like to take a look at that contract before we vote on this.
So this is more or less just cleaning house. It was $150 was the first mentioned item. We only had so much money to spend. We were going to cap out at $8,200, so they agreed to do it for $8,200. What they're doing are the services for payroll right now. It's all manual. As you know, they're working through converting to the UKG system, automated. As they do that, more HR services. Actually, they're in our office now doing some of the HR work. So that's going to convert more time they're going to spend on HR services as they spend less time on payroll and manually inputting everything.
But again,
this again is just a cleanup item. The resolution January 3rd should have said $8,200, not $150 per hour.
yeah, again, we go back to January 3rd then, when this was passed, they haven't done anything for us HR-wise. Okay, so again, we've been paying them.
I just thought they'd been in our office doing HR work, but they're spending a lot more time.
What are they doing?
They're converting all of our files, our manual files, they're putting them all on computerized items, for example, personnel files.
And when did they start doing
They've
this?
been doing this for a couple of months, they've been in our office. Not every day, but they've been there.
Yeah.
You want to table it, or you know what?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to table it.
He makes a motion to table, do you have a second?
We'll second it until we figure it
On
out.
the roll, please.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
I have one question. Is this going to affect our services with payroll if we table?
So if we put $150 per hour, it's going to cost us more money. We're being capped at $8,200.
Okay.
That was the agreement, just like we did with Lumps and McCormick. We didn't do the hourly rate, we capped them at $8,250.
But if we table this, it's not going to affect payroll. It's just going to get the answers that Bob's looking for. Correct?
It's not, this is,
Or are we going to pay more money if we...
if you push it to go to the $150, I guarantee you, you're going to pay more money.
What I'm saying is we're at 150 now, or are we at 8,200?
No, they're capped at $8,200 per month. That's what we've been paying them every
That
month.
equates to about 52 hours a week.
This is just ministerial, this is just housekeeping. They've been billing us and we've been paying. They sent us 2 contracts with 2 separate numbers in it. And apparently the 150 number was translated or transferred into the resolution as opposed to the 8,200 a month number. That's what they've been billing us, that's what we've been.
You're also, when you add all this up, I mean, you're talking about $98,400 that we're paying for this company to just have been doing payroll for us, which is just, seems a little bit high. So you put together Lumsden McCormick, our finance people, and these people, Lumsden McCormick at about $99,000, you're talking $197,000 a year to take care of our finances and our payroll. And again, I haven't talked to anybody who's seen anything done HR.
But at this moment, so I get it right, we're still paying $8,200 if we do the resolution or we don't. This is just taking the 150 out of the equation.
It's housekeeping.
8,200. So if we do this, it's still 8,200.
Exactly.
So we still have to wait until we get the information that you're looking for.
Yeah, I don't know what we're paying
So
for.
we might also do the resolution and get the 150 out and just keep it at 8,200 right now.
But we haven't done they've done no thing in HR.
They've been.
I mean, our other
But this is-
finance company is going to be looked at by the state of New York for, again,
Right.
not
What I'm
living up
saying,
to the
though, is-
contract. So I don't see how we can go ahead with
No,
this.
but either way, we're already paying them the 8,200 for that. This is taking the $150 out of the equation, so it's not there anymore, and it's just that flat fee that we've already been paying them. So if we do the resolution or not, we're still gonna be paying them the $8,200.
But you don't know what you're paying for.
Yeah,
Sure you do.
You're paying $8,200 for simply payroll stuff.
I think we table it based on, Bob still wants to take a look at the contract.
Right, but what I'm saying though is we get rid of it. That's where we get the information, we're still paying the same amount of money. It's not changing anything. If we table it, we get $8,200. If we clean house with this to get it out of our way, we still pay $8,200. Then when you get the information, that's where we can say, no, the $8,200 has to change. Because you're not doing A, B, and C, and D.
Well, that's one way to look at it. I'm not going to vote for something where I don't know where the money's going, and it's not going for what it's supposed to be going for. So, again, that's why
But
we all
did
have our
vote-
individual
But I'm just
votes.
saying, we did vote for it in the past, so that was,
You've been part of this conversation.
Yeah, but that was back in January. Again, they haven't lived up to the contract, from what I've seen. So again, let's find out exactly what's going to be in there. You're also talking about a new payroll system. Are we going to be paying for that? I don't know. The old system was never used. So ultimately, they got rid of it, and yeah, we're getting some money back on that system, but again, what are we paying?
right, but that's where, if we got rid of this, the next step would be to understand that and then restructure the contract, because this is part of the contract, am I right? I read this.
I don't know what you mean this.
The $8,200.
That is included in the contract.
So we've already voted on that contract.
Right.
So what we'd have to do is look at it and then go back to the contract and say, you need to take this off, we need this rebate because you didn't do A, B, C, and D. We already voted on this in January. That's what I'm saying. And it's the 150, this resolution is just getting rid of it in the wording.
Yeah, but no, you're agreeing to $8,200 now, regardless of what we were paying. Before it was $150 an hour. And again, HR services were asked for. I understand what you're saying, and if there's not the votes to table it, there's not the votes to table it. But there's no way I'm voting for this until I find out what's in it.
So, on the roll,
I'll rescind it. I'll rescind
Your second?
my second.
I'll second it.
Okay.
on the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart.
No.
Councilmember Dickman.
Yes.
Councilmember Leary.
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer.
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino.
No. Man, they're gonna be happy if they can charge the $150 an hour, I'll tell you. Okay, number 6 is tabled. Councilmember Burkhart, number 7.
Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, I am offering Resolution 7 for adoption. Whereas Ed Schiller of William Shutt Associates of the Town of Lancaster Consulting Engineers by letter dated August 14, 2023, has requested that the Town Board authorize an invitation to bid for repair or replacement of deteriorated wood, soffit, and trim at the Lancaster Town Hall Clock Tower, 21 Central Avenue, Lancaster, New York, to include lead paint, a remediation, and whereas the town board has given due review and consideration to the request for the aforementioned repairs and deems it in the public interest to invite public bids in conformance with general municipal law, section 103 of the state of New York. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Lancaster hereby invites public bids for repair or replacement of deteriorated wood, soffit, and trim at the Lancaster Town Hall Clock Tower to include lead paint remediation. Said bids are to be in conformance with the plans and specifications which are available at the office of William Shutt Associates, P.C., 37 Central Avenue, Lancaster, New York, and to be received in the office of the town clerk, 21 Central Avenue, Lancaster, New York. no later than 10 a.m. local time on September 12th, 2023, and open thereafter.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 8, this resolve, the Town Board of Town of Lancaster hereby authorizes the Town Supervisor, Youth Bureau Executive Director, and Program Coordinator to execute the annual memorandum of agreement with the State University of New York for and on behalf of the University at Buffalo, which will allow students from the university's undergraduate psychology program to participate in the field education program under the supervision of the program coordinator within the Town Youth Bureau. Be it further resolved, this agreement becomes effective September 6, 2023, and shall continue effective until May 4, 2024. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Mazer, number 9, please.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, offer the following resolution, move for its adoption. Whereas the Town Board is considering the application submitted by Lucas James, doing business as Lucas James Construction, as designee for Cornerstone Plaza, owner of 5827 Broadway, Lancaster, New York, for a special use permit to operate restaurant, namely Tim Hortons, in accordance with provisions of Chapter 400 zoning, Section 18B1A of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, and whereas the Town of Lancaster Planning Board has reviewed the environmental impact of the project pursuant to seeker regulations at the meeting on July 19, 2023, has recommended the negative declaration be issued with conditions, and whereas the Town Board has duly considered the plans for the construction project using the short environmental assessment form, the criteria for determining significance set forth in seeker regulations, and such other information deemed appropriate, including the recommendation of the Town of Lancaster Planning Board, and whereas the Town Board has identified the relevant areas of environmental concern, has taken a hard look at these areas, and has made a reasoned elaboration for a basis for its determination, and whereas the proposed action has been labeled an unlisted action under seeker, now therefore be it resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster that number 1, the consideration of the special use permit seeker to operate a restaurant, namely Tim Hortons, 5827 Broadway, Lancaster, New York, in accordance with provisions of Chapter 400 zoning, Section 18B1A of the Code of the Town of Lancaster, will not result in any large and important impacts, and therefore it is an action which will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment, and therefore the board issues the attached condition negative declaration of the environmental significance for the reasons stated therein, with conditions as stated herein. Number 2, double lane stacking to be provided. Number 3, a new traffic study shall be conducted after 1 year. 4, any issues identified in the traffic study will be addressed by the applicant within a year. 5, the town clerk shall file a copy of the conditioned negative declaration in the file for the project. 6, the town attorney's office shall file a notice of determination of non-significance with the petitioner and with all required New York State and New York County agencies, filing a copy of the letter of transmittal. Number 7, this resolution is effective immediately.
May I have a second? I'll second it. On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
No.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 10. Be it resolved, Town of Lancaster, location code 30040, hereby establishes the following as standard workdays for these titles and will report the officials to the New York State and local retirement system based on the record of activities. It's for 2 of our zoning board of appeals people. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 11. Now therefore be it resolved that Adam Bistoff of Lancaster, New York, being appointed to the position of labor at the Town of Lancaster Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Department, effective September 5th, 2023, and that such appointment shall be subject to all applicable provisions of the collective negotiation agreement between the Town of Lancaster and the CSEA White Collar Union and all applicable provisions of law. Be it further resolved, the supervisor of the Town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes, is Adam here? Congratulations. Councilmember Burkhart, number 12, please.
Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, I am offering Resolution 12 for adoption, whereas the Highway Superintendent of the Town of Lancaster, by letter dated August 1st, 2023, has requested the town authorize the expenditure of funds for concrete curbing, 4 sidewalk blocks, and 1 wheelchair ramp replacement at various specified locations throughout the town of Lancaster. And whereas the Highway Superintendent has sufficient funds in the 2023 Highway Department budget to undertake the actions specified above, and whereas the Highway Superintendent obtained 3 price quotes for furnishing the materials and labor required for curb, sidewalk, and wheelchair ramp replacement and removal at various specified locations throughout the town of Lancaster. Whereas Custom Curb Appeal, 29 Quincy Ave, Lancaster, New York, provided the lowest price quote of $32,500 for up to 290 linear feet of upright curbing, 4 sidewalk blocks, and a wheelchair ramp. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Town Board of Lancaster hereby awards a contract for the materials and labor required for curbing, sidewalk blocks, and 1 wheelchair ramp replacement and removal at various locations throughout the town of Lancaster to Custom Curb Appeal, in accordance with the aforementioned price quote to be paid for with funds from the Highway Department's 2023 budget, line items 13-5110-0411 and 13-5110-0413. Be it further resolved that this award is subject to approval of the town attorney after receipt of all bond documents, and work shall be performed with such approval.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move question number 13. Now therefore be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby recognizes the appointment of Liam O'Brien of Lancaster, New York, to the position of light equipment operator in the Town of Lancaster Highway Department effective August 22nd, 2023, contingent upon approval by the Erie County Department of Personnel, and that such appointment shall be subject to all applicable provisions of the collective negotiations agreement between the Town of Lancaster and the CSEA Blue Collar Union and all provisions of the law. Be it further resolved, the supervisor of the Town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question. On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes, and is Liam in the audience? Okay, we'll move on to Councilmember Mazur, number 14, please, through 16.
Yes, sir. Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, I offer the following resolution, move for its adoption. Whereas the Town Board is considering the application of Matt Abate of Volpe Design Group as designee for J. Colzel and Son Incorporated, Jeffrey W. Loeffler, President, for the proposed installation of a gravel parking lot on 1 acre of physically disturbed land on 5.6 acres of land at 3857 Walden Avenue, Lancaster, New York. Whereas the Town of Lancaster Planning Board has reviewed the environmental impact of the construction project pursuant to SEQA regulations at their meeting on August 2nd, 2023, and recommended a negative declaration be issued. And whereas the Town Board has duly considered the plans for the building, the long environmental assessment form, the criteria for determining significance set forth in SEQA, and such other information deemed appropriate, including the recommendation of the Municipal Review Committee. And whereas the Town Board has identified the relevant areas of environmental concern, has taken a hard look at these areas and made a reasoned elaboration for its basis for its determination. And whereas the proposed action has been listed an unlisted action under SEQA, now therefore be resolved by the Town Board of Town of Lancaster that number 1, the project consists of 5.6 acres of land affecting 1 acre physically disturbed land for the installation of a new gravel parking lot. The proposed parking lots will not result in any large and important impacts, and therefore it is an action that will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment, and therefore the board issues attached negative declaration of the environmental significance for the reasons stated therein. 2, the town clerk shall file a copy of this negative declaration in the file for the project. 3, the town attorney's office shall prepare and file a notice of determination of non-significance with the petitioner and with all required New York State and Erie County agencies, filing a copy of the letter of transmittal. Number 4, this resolution is effective immediately.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes.
Resolution number 15, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, I offer the following resolution and move for its adoption. Whereas Matt Abate of Volpe Design as designee for J. Colesville & Son Incorporated, Jeffrey W. Lau for president, has prepared and submitted a site plan dated October 25th, 2022, and received October 26th, 2022, with revisions dated January 31st, 2023, for the proposed installation of a gravel parking lot at 3857 Walden Avenue, Lancaster. And whereas the site plan for this project was submitted to the planning board and was approved at their August 2nd, 2023 meeting, and whereas the seeker review of this project was started on January 18th, 2023, and reopened August 2nd, 2023, with a negative declaration was issued at that time. Now therefore be resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby approves the site plan submitted by Matt Abate of Pulpy Design Group, designee for J. Colesville & Son Incorporated, Jeffrey W. Law for president, dated October 25th, 2022, for the proposed installation of a gravel parking lot at 3857 Walden Avenue, New York, with the following conditions. Number one, project to be completed within 90 days of the Lancaster Town Board approval.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes.
Resolution number 16, whereas the Town Board of Town is considering the application of Frederick J. Goronsky of Colligan Law LLP as designee for Michael Schofield for the minor subdivision on a parcel involving approximately 23 acres, covering a portion of 3-acre physically disturbed area at 5943 Genesee Street, Lancaster. Whereas the Town of Lancaster Planning Board has reviewed the environmental impact of this construction project pursuant to seeker regulations at their meeting on August 2nd, 2023, and recommended a negative declaration be issued. Whereas the Town Board has duly considered the plans for the building, the long environmental assessment form, the criteria for determining significance set forth in seeker, and such other information deemed appropriate, including the recommendation of Municipal Review Committee. And whereas the Town Board has identified the relevant areas of environmental concern, has taken a hard look at these areas and has made a reasoned elaboration of the basis for its determination. And whereas the proposed action has been labeled unlisted action under seeker, now therefore be it resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster that, number one, this project consists of a minor subdivision on a parcel covering approximately 23 acres, covering a portion of a 3-acre physically disturbed area at 5943 Genesee Street in Lancaster. This project will not result in any large and important impacts, and therefore is an action that will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment, and therefore the board issues the attached negative declaration of environmental significance for the reasons stated therein. 2, the Town Board shall file a copy of the negative declaration in the file for the project. 3, the Town Attorney's Office shall prepare and file a notice of determination of non-significance with the petitioner and with all required New York State and Erie County agencies, filing a copy of the letter of transmittal. And 4, this resolution is effective immediately.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 17. Now therefore be it resolved, Town Board of Town of Lancaster hereby recognizes the appointment of Thomas Marineski of Lancaster to the position of heavy equipment operator in the Town of Lancaster Highway Department effective August 22nd, 2023, contingent upon approval by the Erie County Department of Personnel, and that such appointment shall be subject to all applicable provisions of the collective negotiations agreement between the Town of Lancaster and the CSEA Blue Collar Union and all applicable provisions of law. Be it further resolved, the supervisor of the Town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Is Tom in the audience? I'd like to move resolution number 18. Now therefore be it resolved that Jeremy Ballestrea of Lancaster, New York, be and is hereby appointed to the position of laborer in the Town of Lancaster Parks, Recreation, and Forestry Department effective September 19, 2023, and that such appointment shall be subject to all applicable provisions of the collective negotiations agreement between the Town of Lancaster and the CSEA White Collar Union and all applicable provisions of the law. And be it further resolved, the supervisor of the Town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Is Jeremy here with us? Congratulations, Jeremy. Okay, I'd like to move resolution number 19. Now therefore be it resolved, the following individuals are hereby appointed to the following part-time position, permanent position, in the town of Lancaster's dog control office, working not more than 19 3/4 hours per week, and that being a part-time position provides no health insurance, sick days, vacations, or other fringe benefits not specifically mandated for part-time permanent employees. It's Tamara Keyser, $18 an hour. It does state Syracuse, New York, but she is moving into the area, and that's the reason why she's taking this job. Effective date is August 21st, and be it further resolved, this town, supervisor of the town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action for the foregoing. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question. On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes, is Tammy in the audience? Okay, Councilmember Burkhart, you have number 20.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board. I am offering Resolution 20 for adoption. Whereas the Twin District Volunteer Fire Company, by letter received August 17, 2023, has requested the deletion of one member from the active roster of said fire association. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Town Board of Town of Lancaster hereby deletes the membership of the Twin District Volunteer Fire Company, the following individual, Jason Ford.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question, on the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 21. Now therefore be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Lancaster hereby recognizes the appointment of Gary Gallagher of Lancaster, New York, to the position of Working Crew Chief in the Town of Lancaster Highway Department effective August 22nd, 2023, contingent upon approval by the Erie County Department of Personnel, and that such appointment shall be subject to the applicable provisions of the collective negotiations agreement between the Town of Lancaster and the CSEA Blue Collar Union and all applicable provisions of law. Be it further resolved that Supervisor of the Town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes, is Gary in the audience? Okay. Dan, when you're ready, we'll move on
All
to
set.
communications. Okay. Communications, 430, received and filed. 431 was resolution on 8/7. 432, received and filed. 433, Planning Committee. 434 and 435, resolution tonight. 436 all the way through 440 is received and filed. 441 through 443, Planning Committee. 444, resolution tonight. 445 is received and filed. 446 and 447, resolution tonight. 448, Planning Committee. 449, Police. 450 and 451 and 452, resolution tonight. 453 and 454, received and filed. 455, resolution tonight. 456 and 457, received and filed. That concludes that portion. The last portion of the meeting that we have here. If anybody would like to speak about any subject matter, please come up, raise your hand. I will recognize you, come up to the microphone, and state your name and address. You can go first.
My name is Jennifer. Last name Geddertz, Goedddertz.
And your address?
21 Central. 24 Central. I'm at 21 Central, sorry. 24 Central, apartment 201. Thank you for your time. I'm here, I have a concern, and I'd really like some guidance on how to make a sustainable future. So I've lived at 24 Central since 2016, and since Fatty's had moved in a few months back, unfortunately, I've had to be consistent about calling the police department because noise ordinance has not been honored. So one, I'd really like to be clear on what is that process. So I call the police, and they do act and serve every time I call, which I very much appreciate. However, this is not becoming something that's being honored. It's becoming a nightly activity, unfortunately. I'm not the only one in the building, and I'm not the only one who is interrupted by this. I want them to be super successful. And they don't know me, but I would be their biggest supporter. That's just who I am by nature, but I also don't think it's fair that they're not upholding what they agreed to uphold. I have a log from every single night since they've opened, stating the activity level. And so that's difficult because, one, I want to know, like, I can be assured that noise ordinance will be honored. Secondly, they evidently have recently received or bought a permit on Fridays, Saturdays, possibly Sundays, I don't know, to be open until midnight. And that also is not honored. So that is, again, they're active before their hours start, and they're well active until after they have been permitted to be. And so, again, I have been consistent in calling. One would like to know, even if they do have a permit, what is that limitation of volume that they can have? Because I don't want there to be a problem, but there needs to be some type of reciprocity. It's just sincerely too much. And thirdly, unfortunately, I've had the experiences through all of this that I've actually been heckled from the street side in the privacy of my own home. Now, usually I get the nature of that environment, what have you, I understand. However, 2 times it was truly inappropriate, not true, uncalled for, and very obviously much not appreciated. Also, there are children that live in the building. They're going to be starting school soon. Something needs to be clearly communicated both to them, and I'm welcoming guidance on how to approach this better. I do have a running record if you want to see it, but...
Hey, Matt, this is all under the village code, right?
Well, village does adopt the town's noise ordinance since it is enforced by the police department.
Right.
And I just quickly pulled up the noise ordinance.
I'm so pleased to say the last 2 nights, they were appropriate in volume, both of music and of people. And I'm grateful for that, but that's only 2 consecutive nights.
So how many times do they get to violate this before some action is taken?
I'm not too sure on how the law enforcement is going to move with the complaint.
What about the owner of the building? I mean, it sounds like there should be some acoustic tiling that goes in if it's going to be loud. I'm just saying, if you build a building with apartments above, active restaurants, or whatever it is, it sounds like they shouldn't be hearing anything. And if your windows are closed and you're hearing people heckling, how good are the windows? I'm just asking because you're hearing a lot of noise coming in from a brand new building, and you're hearing all this up in their apartments. I'm just asking the question where acoustic tiles downstairs, which would absorb that sound getting up into the apartments, I think would be one solution.
I did ask my landlady a few weeks back, and she said that they did fireproof it, but fireproofing and soundproofing are not the same. Also, when I looked it up, there's different degrees of which you can soundproof something. And so I don't know how many layers of that was established. But I know, to answer the question about the windows, I know my windows fall out of the frames at times, so I don't know how secure. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Again, you're calling the police, they're responding, they're taking action. When they respond, I ask, Chief, how many times did they get away with this before something is done and they get shut down?
I don't know how many times we've been there. I know we've been there a few times. I will give you a card and contact me tomorrow, and I will work with you, or one of my captains will work with you on getting this resolved.
Thank you so much. Because it's been multiple times a week since they opened. I have the exact if you want, but thank you.
Sure.
Okay. And your name?
Chief Donald.
Oh, thank you.
Jennifer, can I have you spell your last name again one more time?
Goeddd.
What was it?
D as in David. ERTZ. GOEDDERTZ.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to speak?
I don't think you need my name, do you? Thank you. This is in regards to what's going on in West New York with the illegal aliens being shipped from New York City to the West New York area with the county executive pulling cars and his issues regarding this. But I have a question regarding our own area, Lancaster. This is with you, regarding with you, Supervisor. If these illegal aliens are placed into Lancaster, are you, like other New York county executive supervisors and mayors, going to declare a state of emergency?
There's no reason for us to do it right now. I just talked to our code enforcement officer. There's this process that they go through. First of all, they try to convert one of your hotels. There's been no permits put in to convert any of our hotels. So,
Do you know of any illegal aliens in the Lancaster whatsoever?
not,
Anybody?
I don't.
Okay. And if so, knowing the New York State taxpayers are footing the bills for housing and food, if this does become true, if children are part of the migrants, which they are, New York State Department of Health has state mandated vaccines, will that be enforced within the Lancaster? I know this is probably, it's a main issue with Lancaster to a whole, with the town board and with the school district. If they are allowed to come into Lancaster, big if, are they going to be mandated the same, will they have the same New York State laws with the Department of Health as we do?
I'm not going to answer for the state.
Are you going to take an active part, though, if this
It's up to
does
this
happen?
board. It's up to this whole board to take an active part.
Well, you're going to be the main, since you're the supervisor, you're the main player. The board is one thing, but you are the main
We'll
player.
take your comments into consideration.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anybody else like to speak?
Good evening. My name is James Ostroff. I live at 48 Stutzman Road, Williamsville, New York, 14026. Thank you for the opportunity to address the Honorable Town Board this evening. Tonight, I am not here for myself. I represent and speak for every resident of Stutzman Road with one exception. We, the residents of Stutzman Road, respectfully request the Honorable Town Board reduce the speed limit from 35 to 30 miles an hour for the following facts. 1, we have no sidewalks. Pedestrians must utilize the street. Walkers, joggers, bicyclists, folks who walk their dogs, and especially moms walking with their children. I would also like to include a young dad in his motorized wheelchair who goes down the street with his 2 children on bikes. 2, the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration states 25% of all accidents in the United States are caused by cell phone use. Texting while driving is 6 times more likely to cause an accident than drunken driving. Cell phone use has become an addiction as the strongest narcotics. Drivers are always on their cell phones. We cannot keep our eyes away from them. 3, traffic studies conducted by the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, the American Automobile Foundation, the National Highway Safety and Traffic Administration, and Arizona State University for problem-oriented policing have all concluded the higher vehicle speeds increase the probability of serious injury or death. All the numbers are different, they all show an exponential decrease as speed decreases. A 5-mile-an-hour reduction from 35 to 30 miles an hour results in a decrease of up to 25% of serious injury or death. A recent traffic study conducted by the Lancaster Police Department counted almost 12,000 vehicles in a week. These are mostly commuters using Stutzman Road as a shortcut, and this is 7 days a week. This number will continue to grow as the town continues to grow. And this will be well over 12,000 vehicles a week. 5, I apologize as I have no data on the following. Taking an educated guess, I would say that well over 50% of all residential streets in the town of Lancaster have a 30-mile-per-hour speed zone. 6, the population of Stutzman Road is aging, and here I am, I'm a prime example. Young families are moving in with younger children. 7, from a cost-benefit analysis, there is zero cost to the vehicle operator and an immeasurable benefit to the pedestrian. 8, recently the Honorable Town Board passed a proposal for a 30-mile-per-hour speed limit for business, industrial parks, and all subdivisions. How many weeks would it take for 12,000 vehicles to pass through them? I have no idea. 9, we are asking the Honorable Town Board to be proactive in this important matter to the residents, to all the residents and pedestrian users of Stutzman Road except one. Thank you for your attention, and I'd also like to read a letter from a resident on Stutzman who could not come tonight. He wished to be able to be here and speak. Dear members of the board, as a new resident of Stutzman Road, I am in writing in support of the petition to lower the speed limit to 30 miles an hour. We, my family and I, moved into 49 Stutzman Road in January of 2023. 2 things were immediately clear. First, we have wonderful neighbors. Second, Stutzman Road is a very dangerous street. While perhaps not as busy as Genesee or Pleasant View, non-residents routinely travel at 40 miles per hour or more. A 30-mile-per-hour speed limit will help ease my mind as my 2 children, 7 months and 2 years, continue to grow in my new community. Thank you for your time and consideration. Daniel and Jess D., 49 Stutzman Road. Is there any questions from anyone?
No, just to let you know, that's communication 449.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and that communication has been sent over to the police department. So they will look into this?
I would like to comment on that the police department is a member of the executive branch. Their job is law enforcement. It is not to advise legislation. We have 3 separate tiers of government. Why doesn't the judge make the recommendation? It would be the same thing. I'm saying, yes, the police are certainly entitled to make their studies and to make the recommendations.
That's what they'll do.
But I do not feel, and I do not believe, that the legislation should be determined by the executive branch. We have 3 separate branches of government, and you are asking a separate branch. And I just don't believe that is what the Constitution is all about. I may be wrong, I'm not a lawyer, but again, the police department's job is law enforcement, not to advise on legislation. Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Anybody else like to speak? Second time? Third time? Ask for a motion to go into executive session under number 2.
Motion.
May I have a second? Second. On the roll, please.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Larry?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rafino?
Yes, thank you for coming. Have a great night.